Welcome back to another episode of the Four Archetypes. We are back. The Four Archetypes are here, missing Whitman, but he'll be back with us. Dr. Eric Tomlinson's here. Dr. Lisa Hong is here with us. So, um, without further ado, let's get into the story. So, where did we leave off? We left off with Shahrazad um, wanting to save her people from this murderous serial killer, basically, king, who is terrorizing them and killing all the young women in the land. So the story goes is that every morning he wakes up at he leaves the bed, they come and kill his wife. So he gets married in one night, and the night is not through. 24 hours have not gone by. And she's already dead. Okay. So with that thought, Shahrazad has an idea. And she wants to marry the king to save her people from his murderous lust at this point. So her father says, Shahrazad, I have to tell you a story about the donkey and the ox. Have you heard the story? She goes, no. So the father tells the story. So Dr. Lisa is going to read us the story, and then we'll have a couple of thoughts afterwards. So, Dr. Lisa.
The Tale of the Donkey and the Ox. There once was a merchant with plenty of money and men, camels and cattle, and a wife and children, big and small, who lived off his land. He had been taught the language of beasts, wild and tame, on the condition that if he told his secret, he would die. In his stable were a donkey and an ox, tethered to their troughs. And as he sat beside them one day, his wife and children nearby, the merchant heard the ox say to the donkey, "To your health! What it must be to live in milk and honey, to be waited on and fed, sifted barley, cooled with crystal water, while I am taken out to plow at night, forced to wear a thing they call a yoke around my neck, and made to work all day turning the field, driven past endurance and pushed until my sides are cut to shreds and under the whip, my neck to ribbons. Oh, they work me night to night, take me home in the dark and throw me beans, dripping mud and straw laced with chaff, and leave me on a bed of piss and dung, while you rest on watered ground and pillows of clean hay. You live in comfort, save for the rare day our master needs you for an errand, never for long, while you rest while I am tired. You sleep when I am awake." The donkey turned to the ox and said, "They were not wrong to call you beasts of burden. You shoulder every load without a word. There is no side to you, no guile. You are not wise to them, nor will you listen to those of us who are. Instead, you break your backs so they may lie at ease. At the first call to prayer, you are taken to the field where only pain awaits. If the manger tethered to your trough, you have to ram it with your horns and kick and scream and bellow for the beans until they're flung your way. Try this instead. Next time they bring you food, refuse to eat or touch it. Do more than sniff it and withdraw. Lie on the straw, and you will have a sweeter life you seek, and you will find relief." The ox, who knew the donkey's words would serve him well, thanked him in his language and prayed to God that he be safe from harm. The merchant understood all they had said. In the morning, when the plowman came to set the yoke around his neck, the ox was slow to move, and under the man's blows he tried to ruse. He threw himself to the earth, took another beating, but kept up his trick of tripping, every step a stumble until night. When the plowman took him back and tied him to the trough, the ox did nothing, did not shout or stamp the ground, but drew away. And when the beans were brought, he did not touch them, but he settled on the hay and fell asleep. When the plowman found the trough as full as he had left it, and the ox on his back, belly bloated, he was holding his breath, and legs in the air, the plowman pitied him and thought, he did seem weak. He must be sick. He went to the merchant and said, Master, the ox does not touch his food last night. And the merchant, who knew the story, said to the plowman, Get that wily donkey, put him in the plow, and let him do the ox's work. The plowman fetched the donkey, set the yoke upon his neck, and drove him to the field to work until his sides were cut to shreds under the whip, his neck to ribbons. He took him home at night with dragging legs and drooping ears. The ox, meanwhile, had spent the day at rest. He ate and drank his fill and took his time. All day long he praised the donkey's good advice and stood to greet him returning. Good evening. You have done me a kindness beyond words. God bless you. But the donkey, bragging and regretting his mistake, said nothing. I must devise a way, he thought, to turn the tables back, or I am doomed. And he lay down by his trough as the ox went on praising him to heaven. And you, my girl, said the vizier, are also doomed if you persist in your mistake. Stay here in peace and don't expose yourself to harm. I must go to the king, said Shahrazad, and you must give me to him. Don't, he said. I must. And if you do not obey, he said, I'll do to you what the merchant did to his wife. What did he do? And he said, The Tale of the Merchant and His Wife.
Okay. Thanks, Lisa.
Okay.
Well, we were going to do the tale of the donkey and the ox today. Yeah. So next week, we're reading The Merchant and His Wife. Okay. So the tale of the donkey and the ox. What did you think, Dr. Eric?
Wow. Tough lesson.
Yeah.
I mean, on one hand, I can see why it would be good to share with somebody that's under a lot of pain and suffering
Yeah.
a possible way out of it.
Yeah.
But then again, on the other hand, when you spread guile and deceit,
Yeah.
it can come back to bite you in the butt.
Yeah. If you teach guile and deceit, it will come back to bite you in the butt. Yes. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah, so he was teaching him what he was doing, basically. And he's overheard and he's enjoying what he was doing.
You
When
kind
he
of get
was
that
telling.
feeling, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, like he was playing them for fools, right? So he was playing everybody for a fool. He says, okay, they're fools and you're an idiot. I'm going to teach you how. Yeah. What did you think, Dr. Lisa? What was your...
It came to mind a Buddhist saying
Yeah?
that a friend taught me once, and she said, You chew your food, I chew mine.
Yeah.
And leave it at that.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, there's also this it was a shadow, right? That Buddha saying is like warning of shadow. You chew yours, I will chew mine.
So it's
That's a
not
warning of
everything for our
shadow that
shadows.
yeah, because because we start to project the shadow outside of ourselves.
Mm.
And so this is the projection of the shadow. The donkey projects the shadow onto the ox. His fear, his loathing, all the things he thinks the ox is, which is not up to his standard. What did he call him? He calls him beast of burden, burden of beast, or beast of burden,
Yeah,
Mhm.
beast of burden.
beast of burden, which is fantastic because that's shadow, right? So shadow like appears and it takes over, right? Even the opportune moment where the merchant, his shadow, is listening in on the conversation of the animals. Right? What are they saying to each other? They must be plotting against me. Right? So his favorite was the donkey. So he turned on the donkey. It's like, oh no, the donkey's evil. Not that I am evil, that I do this to them. The donkey's evil.
Mhm.
Right? Which is what the king is doing in the kingdom. Women are evil. They must suffer. They are duplicitous. They will die. They have to die.
Mhm.
Any woman that I marry is like the land is running out of women. This maniac is killing everybody.
Mhm.
Donkey and an ox.
Becomes
Fascinating.
insatiable.
Huh?
Becomes insatiable when you have your
Yeah.
shadow run amok like that. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
unsustainable.
You're feeding it blood, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
But it never fills. It's like a black hole of emotional need. Never,
Exactly.
yeah, it
Right.
never
Yeah.
fills.
Yeah. Because the shadow is the unexpressed need, right? When it comes out, it becomes terrorizing. Because what is it in essence? It's an unexpressed need, a desire, something greater than, and something that I've been prevented from having. Right.
And even though the donkey went through that, and then look what he turns around and says, I must devise a way to turn the tables back.
Yeah. It's still in shadow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shadow has taken over the conversation.
And
The
I
ox
understand,
is
there's a part of me
that.
that understands why he would want to do that.
Yeah.
But you know, I think along with kind of the feel of the spirit that the donkey had in the beginning, I think there was also, I'm going to get these, what's back.
Yeah. But this is the unknown other, right? I think
Yeah.
I'm driving the car
Yeah.
and suddenly somebody else is driving the car. It's still my car, but somebody else is driving. And the way they're driving is not the way I drive. It's not the way I talk. It's not the way I feel about people. Right? It's this unknown other that keeps appearing. And so in this story, the unknown other is activated by a plea of, so what happens is the ox basically says, I am doomed, right? And the donkey goes, because you're an idiot. Suddenly the shadow, the unknown other, is injected into the story. This complex appears. And now the complex is in charge, and you could feel the energy as it's gaining. If they do this, if they tell you to put on the yoke, you refuse to put on the yoke. And so he does all these tricks, right? He refuses, he's passive, he's manipulative, he's like, I can't do it anymore. You guys are killing me. Oh, he must be sick. But the merchant's shadow is already up. It's like, oh, okay, you taught this guy, I'm going to teach you a lesson. This is a vicious cycle, right?
One thing I find interesting, I'm not sure about, I'd like to get your and Dr. Lisa's opinion on is is, I mean, I've been around an ox and I've been around a donkey.
Mm.
This is not a mule. This is not one of the big mules that are used to pulling things. This is a
Mhm.
little donkey. This is a
Yeah,
burro.
yeah,
And an ox is 4 to 5 times the size of a donkey.
yeah,
The yoke alone of an ox would be too much for a donkey to even carry on its
yeah,
neck. So I find it interesting that the roles would get reversed. Here's the little relatively helpless and not very strong donkey, uh, and he winds up with the same job and the same treatment that this huge animal that could take many times more the pain and suffering that that donkey could, and he turns the tables on him. So I'm wondering if there's any significance between it being such a comparatively weak character turning the tables on a really strong character.
mm. Well, the donkey's smarter, right? As an
Yes,
animal,
apparently.
the donkey is smarter. A donkey won't be pushed around. At a certain point, the donkey says, "No, I'm not doing that for you." You know, you have to be nice to the donkey. If you're not nice to the donkey is not going to do anything for you, right? They're really smart animals. They're and they were our companions for a very long time. In
Yes.
Spain, they're like um, donkey signs. They have to like beware donkey, donkey. There's no more donkeys, right? There's actually like a donkey refuge right next to our home in the vineyard and the olive groves, and it's where people take care of donkeys that have like worked or for most of their life, so they kind of just eat and sleep, and it's interesting, right?
Yeah, they're throughout. They're still throughout Mexico and South America because they're much more sure-footed than horses are. They
Well, they're
can walk up.
smarter.
Well, they're more sure-footed too.
Yeah, but they
Uh,
know when not to go.
yeah,
The horse will go, but the donkey will not. It will stop. If it senses danger, it's much um, instinctually much more aware of danger.
yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. Dr. Lisa, any thoughts? Okay.
I think he was also just trying to get her to understand that you don't have it so bad where you are.
Huh?
I think he was also trying to get her to understand by telling her this
Yeah.
story that you don't have it as bad as you think you do.
Yeah.
It could be much worse. Be
Yeah.
be be satisfied where you are right
Be
now.
humble and satisfied with what you have.
Yeah,
This kind of danger could lead you down to death and destruction.
yeah,
Right? Yeah. Yeah. Well, he's trying to get to her. He's trying to get through to her in this. But um, she is sure of what she has, right? She talks about how she knows philosophy and she knows the stories because her father has told her. She knows science, and she she will be able to find a way.
she's overconfident.
Yeah, but that's what he's worried about.
Yeah,
She's sure of herself, but that's what he's worried about, that her overconfidence is going to put her in the donkey situation.
yeah. And the
Yeah,
donkey was overconfident too.
absolutely.
He thought he had it made.
Yeah. And he bragged.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, um, we'll come back next week with a tale with Dr. Lisa reading us the tale of the merchant's wife, the tale of the merchant and his wife. So next week we continue with the annotated 1001 Nights, Arabian Nights, this book right here. If you're interested in following along with us, the next story is on page 16. So next week we will return.
And he wants
we,
to tell the daughter this story about the merchant and the wife because she really didn't get the message of
no,
the donkey and the
no,
ox.
no.
So he's going to
The,
keep trying.
he has to keep, and you know, if you're a parent, you know this very well.
Yeah.
You have to keep telling them the same story in a different way
Yes.
until they get it, until they say, "Oh
Yes.
yeah, now I know what you mean by that." Yeah, okay. All right. With that, this is the IFC, and as we always bid you farewell, we are not afraid.
I am not afraid.
I used to be afraid, but I'm not afraid anymore.
We are the IFC, and we are not afraid. Thank you for joining us today.